Just thought I'd check in. Blessings, blessings. We are talking about how it takes time, you know? It takes time. Really anything, if you think about it. Anything worth learning from and experiencing great things as a result of. I was talking to my pops about this not too long ago. It's like, if you get lucky and you experience some sort of success in whatever it is, and it just kind of like, it just happened, and you don't even have a clear-cut explanation for it, almost like you won the lottery type of thing. Like if someone was to ask you, how did it happen? And you're just like, you do one of those like Home Alone face. Like, I don't know. Like you're doing shoulder shrugs in the gym, like one of those. Good luck, not to just be sarcastic or anything like that or condescending, but it's like, good luck on maintaining that, because you didn't go through it to learn enough to understand what just happened. Because if you really know what happened, if you really understand what just occurred, then if someone was to ask you that question and they're like, how did that happen? And you can easily break it down. It's like none of this was luck, or maybe if there was any luck, it was a very small percentage. The reason why it happened was because I placed myself in that position to be able to get the results I got, Danielle, what's up? How you doing? Isaiah, what's going on? Greetings. And I honestly do think that if you're able to break down to people who ask you, how did that happen? And you're like, well, such and such and such and such and such, you have a reason for everything, then it's like, that's a sign that you took the time and you experienced the results because you went through it. You learned the lessons. Happy birthday, Gabriel. I hope everyone can wish you a happy birthday. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Isaiah, I'm not exactly sure what that means. But like I said, I was talking to my pops about that. And I think if you have taken the time, you have figured out what it took to get where you got, and you can actually break it down to someone, then chances are you're not going to squander that. You are going to maintain it. You are going to guard it like they're diamonds, whatever it is, and you're going to build off of it. You're not going to let it go. That's the point, because you went through it, and it's worth fighting for because you fought to get there. Isaiah, I had a good day so far. I slept. I had like 9.5 hours of sleep, so that was a good thing. I had a good day, productive. One thing that and I can't stand this, is I got charged like $30. Right? I was like, so I looked at it. I was like, what the hell is it? And you know what's crazy? I got charged $60 from like, and I can't stand when companies do this. So I took an IQ test, right? Speaking of, right? It's almost like how smart are you? Like you took an IQ test and then this happens and you got played, you got robbed, right? But what actually happened was, so I saw a charge, right? It was an automatic debit, $29.99. Because I took an IQ test, right? I paid for it. Mind you, it was only a few dollars, right? But this is the grindball stuff some of these companies do. Imagine I only spent a few dollars for the IQ. Minnie, what's up? How you doing? I spent a few dollars for the IQ test, right? I scored between 125 to 129 on the IQ test, right? Hooray, hurrah. So I spent a few dollars on that, right? A month later, so done. Great. I got the certificate. I even posted it here on the channel. A month later, I get charged out of nowhere, $29.99, right? And I saw it was from this company. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm thinking to myself, that's what it, maybe I wasn't paying attention because I'm always doing so many things. So I was like, I chalked it up as like, I chalk it up to the game, it's like, okay, $29.99, whatever. That's what happened, right? This morning, because you asked me how I'm doing, like if I had a good day, right? This morning, earlier, I got charged another $29.99. You just charged me more than $60 for that test. So I'm like, what? I went online, I put in the website, and I'm like, what is going on here? Apparently, they did that grindball thing that these companies do. Like, they got me. And then I look in the fine print. It's like, because that's one of the, obviously, people are complaining about this because it's literally one of the questions that comes up. Like, you know how they say commonly asked questions? And it's like, the question goes, I didn't authorize an automatic subscription. And you know what's crazy? They have like in their fine details, well, this is what we do. So it's like, even if you try and dispute it, it's like there and you were supposed to. I can't stand when companies do that, And it's like, yo, that is like, it's such a grimy move that they do when they lock you in and they put you on an automatic payment. Like, who asked you to do that? That's so low when companies do that, So that didn't mess up my day. I just wanted to share it. Like, I wound up spending $60 where they advertise it only costs like $2 or $3 for the test. You feel me? So I wound up spending like $63 for an IQ test. It was nuts, So whatever, I canceled it. I ate that, It is what it is. So if that's how you get your money, like being dishonest like that, if that's how you get your money and you're no better than people that just, everyone wants to put down because they do illegal stuff, but you just hide behind legal matters and do things that way and rob people that way. You're no better, really. So whatever. That's what happened with that. But other than that, had a good day. Like I said, I slept enough. And is this, I don't know if this person is still here, but clearly looks like trolling, So yeah, and like I was saying, I spoke to my pops about this earlier, and it's like the thumbnail and the title of this live stream is about, it takes time, and that goes for anything. It's not just about, getting abs or, getting a nice physique, being healthy, financial matters, relationships, anything. It's anything. It takes time, and if you fought for it and you really went through it and you learned lessons, you went through the ups and downs, then chances are, like I said, you're not going to squander it. Is when you actually do succeed, and whatever winds up happening as a positive, you're probably going to maintain that success and you're going to further build off of it, as opposed to if it just was luck, where, as I said earlier in this stream, if someone asks you the question, like, well, how did this happen? Like, how did you, how did you get that? Or how did that occur? And you're just like, you do the shoulder shrugs because you don't know any better. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. And if you have no explanation, then it's like I said, not to be condescending, but, good luck with that, because it's going to be very difficult to maintain because you don't even know what happened. You don't even know how it happened. You just got lucky, Isaiah, I want to, but I just wanted to check in quickly, So I'm probably not going to be on live stream. Trust and believe. This is my first live stream in a while. I had been going through some things, but yeah, take off. But yeah, to answer your question, no, I won't be. But I'll just keep talking. But I had gone through some major events lately, and that's why I haven't been checking in on the live streams lately. And I actually haven't even been going to the gym to work out for several days because of some major things that have just happened, and I'm still working out at home. Like, I actually have incorporated new things. Like today I incorporated shin work, and so this is kind of correlated to this whole live stream about it takes time. So sometimes it takes time, but here's what I had in mind, right? So calves, right? This is a stubborn area for a lot of people, right? You too, Isaiah. I appreciate the check-in and the good wishes. Take care. And a lot of men, especially that I know personally and that I've met throughout my time, complain about, it's a genetic thing and you can't grow your calves. So let me tell you, right? So keep in mind, I just incorporated tibialis today. I just incorporated shins today, right? And I just incorporated regular soleus work. I mean regular, meaning like every single day with weight, like over the last several days, right? But for a while, I was just doing standing calf raises for gastrocnemius off the stairs, right? Off the steps, and working the bottom part, right? Like the stretch over here at the bottom. Like I wasn't even working the top on the tippy toe, just the bottom, right? So I've been doing that for over a month, every single day, right? And then recently, I've been doing sporadic, seated calves for soleus, but recently I just started doing seated calves with resistance every day to go with the standing calf raises, right? So, and remember, I just incorporated shins or tibialis today, right? So, make a long story short, my calves are sprouting. I even posted it here on the community section a few days ago, right? My calves are sprouting. And let me tell you, I don't have like phenomenal genes where, I just do a little bit of calf work and then my calves start growing like monstrous. No, that's not it. My genes are not like that. Like what winded up happening with me is I was working and working and working and working and working and working and working. I just kept going with calves. You ever look at Arnold Schwarzenegger's history in his encyclopedia and like some of the stuff he was mentioning about his calves? He didn't have good genes. For as strong as his genes were, he didn't have good genes for calves neither. But he worked and worked and worked and worked. That's what I did. And now, whereas all those years that I was doing calves, I could not get my calves to sprout, right? But now, it took me forever. Now, when I do calves, let me tell you, not only do they sprout, but they sprout quickly. They sprout fast. And now I'm about to put, starting today, I introduced tibialis work for shins to cause that 3D effect. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And that has happened to me in many different ways, not just for calves. And the thing about it is that basically summarizes everything about this live stream. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. Sometimes it takes a lot of heartache and frustration, disappointments, and it's just like a lot of ups and downs to the point where it's like, man, is this ever gonna happen? And guess what? I've noticed if you stick with it, you stay with it, you don't give up. Because that's very difficult for a lot of people because people are very emotional. And when it's a combination of a psychological thing and an emotional thing at the same time, and in this case, we're talking about physical as well, right? And there are a lot of different forces that are to be balanced in this kind of like this stratosphere of psychology, it's it's physiological, it's spiritual, it's emotional, and it's obviously psychological. And to balance all those things with what life throws at you every single day, like I said, it takes time. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of heartache. And once you get past all of that, when it finally comes, you had been through so much in life that it's like it's the exact opposite of being lucky. It's like when it finally comes, it's like it doesn't even surprise you anymore. It's like I was supposed to get that, because at that point it's like I was supposed to get it. After everything I just went through, I was supposed to get that. That's how you wind up feeling after going through so much, and that's quite honestly how you want it to be, because let me just backtrack, because these things usually don't happen when you want them to, but they happen when they're meant to. I know that sounds cliche, but they happen when they're supposed to happen. And that's bottom line. That's what it all comes down to. You don't get these things when you want them to happen. And chances are it wasn't meant to be at that point, at that time. When you want it to happen, it wasn't meant for you to get. It wasn't meant for you to receive. It wasn't meant to happen at that time. Because you probably weren't ready for it yet. You thought you were, but if you stay vigilant, you stay diligent, you stay determined and focused, and you don't quit and you keep going and you stay with it, eventually it pans out, it bears fruit, it gives you that success, you achieve it, and then you're not even surprised because it's like, well, you know what? I was supposed to get this at this point, everything I just went through. So, like I said, it takes time, and that's really what it boils down to. And that's what I wanted to check in today to discuss. I hope this can motivate and inspire someone, because the point being, don't give up, you know? Don't don't quit. Just stay with it. Because what I've also noticed is you might be right on the cusp. You might be right on the verge of finally getting what you wanted. And if you give up, it might have happened tomorrow and you gave up today. You know? Especially imagine because I hear people say certain things depending on what the topic is. And they'll be like, I was doing this for 3 years straight and nothing. Well, if you really want it, and you believe you can get it, because your mind is that powerful. I know that sounds cliche too, but your mind is truly powerful. If you really want it, you'll do it for another 3 years. If you believe that it's meant for you to have, keep going. That's the point. Everything I ever thought was realistic and practical, and I said to myself, this is going to happen. I'm going to get it. It always happened. Anyone who knows me knows that it's true. They know that's the case. Doesn't matter how many times I failed. Doesn't matter how many times I fell down. It's what you do when you get up and how you make it pop after that. And that's the truth. You get up after you fall down and you keep going like the warrior that you are. That's really it. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Do you believe that it's meant for you to have? If you do, then keep going. Doesn't matter how long it takes. That's it. That's it. You know? And I checked in today to just give whoever watches this a little bit of inspiration. Don't quit. Keep going. And I appreciate every person who checked in. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to be yapping for 45 minutes straight. I've already been yapping for 20-something minutes, and that's really it. So, hope everyone has a good day. You already know. Stay with it. It takes time. Take care.